Peace to the planet Earth. Well, we already got 11 on the live on YouTube. That's a record. We've been up here for 1 second. So
That's
salute,
good.
salute to everybody, man. Salute to everybody that's checking in tonight. This is
Mhm.
Mo Life. Mo, what's good?
Nothing. Was looking forward to this day. I'm super excited. Thank you for everybody that's tuned in so far. I want to give a quick little disclaimer. My voice is in and out. I've got a what do you call it? A sinus infection,
Yeah.
and yeah, this pollen is horrible.
Yeah.
So bear with me in my little squeaky voice. But y'all can all hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. And let me tell you something. I lived in VA, but anybody that's been to Atlanta, the pollen is something. The pollen is like snow down. We don't get snow, we get pollen.
I live all by trees life. It's terrible.
Hey, we got the pine needle. Yes, it's a lot going on right now, man. Um, I'm excited for today too. We're definitely people are putting comments. We got comments. People are in the room. We got 18 deep already. People are checking in. Um,
Right.
I'm excited. I'm excited. This is episode 1 of Mo Life. Let's live Mo Life. I love how you came up with that. Anybody that wants to know briefly, because we're gonna jump right into this briefly, man. Me and Mo been rocking for years. You know what I'm saying? I was able to sit up under her tutelage and learn a few things that I've been able to apply nowadays and spread to some other people. I'm always grateful to connect with people that connect with other people that exemplify greatness. So salute to you, Mo. We here. I feel like this was like 9+ years in the making. You know, we've been having
I
comments.
know. From Saint Bride to us actually having me co-hosting the show with you now and coming up with more life, like just I'm super excited about the future of the show and the topics and what we're going to be able to put out there for the world and it's all about helping and giving back, right?
Indeed, 100%. We're pushing the conversation here. We're doing things that are positive, powerful, and impactful. You hear a little bit about advocacy. You'll hear Q&As about real life, different concerns. My co-host is a life coach and some more. And our guests are all powerful, impactful people. Today, prison advocacy unlocked. Getting straight into it. What is advocacy? If you're up here, you probably know. I'm gonna say not by definition. I'm gonna say it's something that's needed. Advocacy
Mhm.
comes, it comes in the form of different ways. You know, it comes, but you know, through speech. It comes through getting involved with lawmakers, legislators. You
Mhm.
can go to events. You know, you can write emails. There's different ways, right? But the
Like minds.
huh,
Hmm.
fact, but
Like minds, especially with prison advocacy. Like all hands need to be on board with that because um it's rough. Like it's
the
tough. I'm 10 years in the game. I'm retired now for the last 8 months, but people still have questions. People still want to ask me things and I'm definitely fine with that. Um it's not an easy thing. Like to get somebody, it's easy to put somebody in prison, but it's damn hard to get them out.
it's
It
ex-
does take a little while.
it's extremely hard to get people out. Uh,
Hmm.
Anybody that's a part of the fight knows it's not impossible, but it's improbable if we're realistic about it, right?
That
But
part, bro. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you have to be consistent. It's just like you can't, you could, because you have somebody's life in your hands. So it's like, Travion Blunt is a great example. Everybody knows him and our story, like 7.5 years, seven and a half. And it wasn't easy, but he's home. You know what I'm saying? So it paid off. So I'm excited. He's home. I'm excited. You're home. I'm excited. Everybody's home that deserves to be home. Shout out to brother Azim and his wife Kiera. I see Kiera's up here. Brother Azim is home. He sat in my classes as well, and he done took off. Like
yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
yeah. Salute to everybody that came home
Hey,
and
Andres.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, salute to Andre. Salute to Positive Vibes Only, Empress Poetry, Kay Brandon, Katrina Clark, everybody that's checking in right now.
Shout out to my sister tribe. Shout out. Love y'all.
Salute to the sister tribe, man.
Mm-hmm.
Salute to
They,
everybody that's coming together,
mm-hmm.
man. There's a lot of people coming together in 2023. There was salute to bar business. I got to speak last night. It was, man, it was serious. We had some good dialogue in there, but I accept the challenge because we got to challenge each other as part of the process of growth. We
Yeah.
can't see things always. That's why I posted the clip. You see me, you know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
I think what's good with the challenge is for me, I stood up to it. I was the guy that came from prison. Everybody else wasn't in the room for the most part. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and by the end of it, everybody wanted to get involved. And that's what you want to do, man. So be a voice, stand your position. You know, if you know facts and you're speaking truth and you got heart and you're doing things for the right cause, do that. And continue to network. And that's what I want to say, man. It's not impossible or it's improbable, but it's possible. You see people come home. You know, you see that. So don't give up on the fight. Thank you for checking in. We're getting ready to go in and introduce our guests because not only do we have, one of the individuals that's responsible right here for bringing home Travion Blunt and others, somebody that's actually walked the walk, not just talk the talk, which is imperative. But we also have our esteemed guest today, uh, Latasha C. Williams, Esquire attorney, judge candidate, but I'm gonna say future judge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how I'm gonna say it. And that's it. Can you please introduce before we bring it up? Just let people know exactly how serious this conversation is about to get, because we're gonna be answering everybody's questions.
Let me tell you, we are kicking. This is our premiere show of
Yeah,
Mo Life. And I wanted to make sure, White Life wanted to make sure that we kicked off this show hard. And
right.
when I tell you, Latasha C. Williams is the realest, is the hardest woman out here.
Salute.
I mean, she's about to get on. She's about to get on, but I have to say this, and she's probably gonna try and down it and correct me. But she's the reason why I got in the game. We had cases out in Pennsylvania. I started out in Pennsylvania,
Mm.
and she
Salute.
gave me the blueprint, and then I made my own lane, and I
Mm.
filled in the black and white. So for that, I will forever be grateful for her. We've been girls for so many years. Like that is my sister. That's my heart. One of my closest friends, and I love her dearly. Now that I got that out the way, um, let me just give you a snippet of her bio. Latasha C. Williams is the founding member and managing attorney at Williams Law Group. Throughout the course of her diverse legal career, Attorney Williams has demonstrated a commitment and passion for representing marginalized groups. She has served her community for more than 20 years as a volunteer legal advocate, helping wrongly convicted prisoners by reinvestigating their case, gathering proof of Brady violations and their actual innocence, and obtaining judicial, judicial review of their closed case. After many years of advocating tirelessly for wrongful convicted prisoners, in 2014, Attorney Williams made the decision to become an attorney and enrolled in Widener Law School's part-time evening program so that she could work full-time during the day and attend law school at night. As a law student, she volunteered with the Lehigh County Public Defender's Office, where she where she gained invaluable experience defending juvenile and adult clients accused of committing crimes. Upon graduation from law school, Attorney Williams clerked for the Honorable Maria Musty Cook, York County Court of Common Pleas, where she concentrated her legal research and writing in the areas of search and seizure laws, criminal appeals, and the Post Conviction Relief Act. After her clerkship, Attorney Williams worked as an assistant district attorney in York County and later as a senior assistant district attorney in Franklin County, prosecuting hundreds of cases at every stage of the criminal justice process. She has previously taught at the high school and college levels, worked for Pennsylvania legislation, and secured early intervention, I'm sorry, y'all, services for young children. On May 18th, 2021, Attorney Williams made history. Let me run that back. She made
Mm-hmm.
history
Mm-hmm.
when she defeated three challenges in the Pennsylvania primary election to win the Democratic nomination for judge of the Dauphin County Court of Common Pleas, trial level court. The first Black woman, the first Black woman. She
Mm-hmm.
currently resides in Susquehanna Township and enjoys spending time with her family and volunteering with several nonprofit organizations to include Art for Justice Incorporated and the Legal Kid Foundation. Tasha is now running for the second time for judge in the same county, making history not once but two times. I'm so super proud of her. And y'all give it up a warm, big clap, warm welcome to the greatest out here, Latasha C. Williams, Esquire.
Mm. How you doing?
I am well. That was, I'm gonna get you. Far too kind of you, my sister, but I so greatly appreciate the invitation to be on this show this evening.
Mhm. You're welcome. We're excited to have you. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
and thank you for all you do for the community, for those wrongly convicted. Thank you for being a fair attorney. I know we're claiming that seat. You know that, right? Like
Ah,
you will be the first Black female judge.
That's right.
And just I'm just super excited about it, and I just can't wait.
thank you. Well, we're gonna see what happens. Let's definitely claim it. The dynamics of where I live and primarily practice are very unique for someone in my position, with my
Mhm.
background, rather, seeking this position. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. But if the voters show up and vote their conscience, then I have every confidence that we will be successful this time.
Absolutely. We claiming that, we manifesting that, everybody, we putting that into the universe. It shall be done. It shall be done. Chris, do you want to shout out the phone number for call-ins before we proceed?
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely. So, guys, we're gonna be taking your questions. You can put them in the chat, or I'm gonna be putting up the phone number. We doing a live call in. And real quick, if anybody wants to support the vote, etc., your election call, any of that, is there a website anywhere? Because I know somebody's gonna want to ask that.
Yeah, I will definitely plug Tasha's website and her law firm and everything towards the end. Definitely.
Got you. Got you. Um, I've already got a couple of questions from earlier. Uh, and
Oh, awesome. Let's jump into it then.
yeah, we got questions. I'm pulling up the phone number now, guys. Um, question number one, I guess. I don't want to say question number one because the questions started coming in. Shout out to everybody that's been contacting via email, Messenger, Facebook, IG, everywhere, Twitter. People been reaching out on the Twitter now. We're streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So shout out to everybody that's a part of that. One of the first questions that came in was that most people just don't know where to start. Most people are underfunded or they got certain situations financial, they just don't know where to start when it comes to their loved one. What are the smallest steps that can be taken initially when it comes to advocacy? And this question was asked. She said, well, I'm not gonna put her name, but she said specifically for a single mother that's struggling financially, how can she bring her son home? That might be, you know what I'm saying. It's not a direct question, it's a question of many, and I don't know how you guys might want to respond to it, but that question kind of came through in the form of two or three of the same questions, honestly.
Is that for me to answer?
Oh, any guys you want to jump in? What's the smallest steps to start, either Mo or yourself?
We could tag team Tasha. I mean,
Okay.
we clearly get that a lot because majority of our advocacy work we didn't get paid. So, and that's the truth of it, majority. For me, what I would say to the single moms, and because I get this question a lot as well, is you have to have support. That's the main thing. You have to have support. You just keep writing attorneys that will possibly take your case pro bono, or who your loved one's case pro bono. Just don't stop writing. What people do, I find, life is, and Tasha can attest, they'll start but they won't finish. And
Mhm.
then they think, Tasha and I have to, we got to do everything. But without support from the family and from the friends, and it's just sometimes it's impossible to get to that next step. um Utilizing social media for the good, like the Twitters, the Facebook, the Instagram and stuff, highlighting cases is very important. Utilize that, but again, you have to be consistent. It's not you can post one sentence once a week and then just flee.
Mhm.
You have to be on top of this every day, every single day, with Travion, Jerron, Lewis, all my cases. I was on social media getting on everybody's nerve. I was calling the governor's office every day, to the point they knew who my voice. Oh, hi, Monique. Oh, hello. Well, I am calling for Travion Blunt. Can I please speak to Governor so and so? That's what I was doing for 7.5 years. You have to be patient in this process, because it is not an overnight process and it's not easy. You're going to feel emotions that you've never even ever felt before. So what I would do is probably would Google some, maybe, some criminal attorneys in your state, in your county, check them out, always check backgrounds, and keep writing them and keep being in their face. Somebody will pick you up pro bono after a while. Now, if you exhausted everything, if you've exhausted all of your stuff, if you've exhausted everything, all of your PCRAs, your court, and all of that type of stuff, then you will go ahead and get in, as I said, with your state officials, the governors, the petitions, and like do all of that type of stuff. Um, when you're being knocked down, the way some people are being knocked down for wrongful convictions, like the Giovanni Reeds, the Lorenzo Johnsons, the Travion Blunts, like I can name an abundance of people, because Tasha and I've worked with an abundance of people.
Right.
And thankfully, they're all home, with our help. Like, they're all home. So you just have to be consistent. Tasha worked on a case. How long was Cheesecake? Was 20 years, Tasha?
15
15 years. And
and
I
still
seen her
working.
blood, sweat, and tears, and still
Yeah,
working.
because
I
it's
seen her blood, sweat, and tears. And it's not easy. You have to be consistent. Just keep writing those attorneys. Pop up, make an appointment with, and at these law firms and stuff like that. What's the worst going to happen? No,
Right.
we're not going to take no's. You just keep being consistent and persistent. But you got to have a strong family background, strong friends and stuff like that, to take this ride with you, because it ain't easy. And sometimes with family, how can I put this? Can I keep it a buck?
Of
of
course.
course.
Sometimes with family, it's just not it. You know what I'm saying? You get more help and consistency from friends and fans and everything. A lot of my supporters and my fans is up here right now. And Travion wouldn't be probably sitting home right now if it wasn't for them signing off on petitions and stuff like that, and kept sharing stuff. So that's my advice. What you say, Tosh?
I would agree. I mean, you summed it up really well, better than I could have. Definitely is a marathon, not a sprint. And so you just have to put that work in, put the time in. There's different creative ways you can raise money. We did fish fries, we did shopping trips, we did bowling parties,
Yeah. Hmm.
anything possible just to raise
To
money.
raise money. Hmm.
And like Mo said, it's important to connect to attorneys who are capable of taking on that type of case. So maybe an attorney that's with a law firm, because they can bear the cost and expense that is associated with taking on a case pro bono, because it's not cheap, and it is an undertaking for an attorney to agree to do that. We were really fortunate to link up with attorneys who we were somehow able to convince to take on the case pro bono. And I think it's because they did believe in the case, but that's really hard to come by. So while you're working on that strategy, you can be implementing creative ideas to raise money to help fund the
Hmm.
process.
Right, to possibly retain an attorney. So Tasha, like she said, she did the bowl-a-thons, fish fries. Um, I did a party at one of the clubs out here for Travion. Just different things, and it's okay to people be asking for cash app for birthday money. So sometimes if they really believe in the case and believe in that freedom, just go ahead. Like, you want to do $5 a month for that said person, that adds up, it helps.
Yeah,
But you have to start from somewhere.
yeah. I've seen
And
guys.
Google's your best friend. Google, 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 Google.
Yeah, Google, Twitter, use social media for the reasons of for the means of being social. I've gotten in touch with delegates and certain people here in the city of Atlanta. I see a lot of people from Georgia. It's horrible down here, man. It's horrible right now. But you can reach out to people, and it's funny. It's just like in business or anything else. If you promote what you believe in, if people see you going hard for that, it's going to be easier for you to, like they said, to get people to step in with you. We got a couple of different questions. Well, I guess one of the questions, and it kind of it coincides. This was a comment, but it refers to a question. It says that her son had a public defender that sold him out. A lot of questions were coming in about ineffective counsel, different ways to get back in court on that. Just what happens because a lot of young men and women, they go into the in front of the judge, they go into the in front of the prosecutor, whatever it is, with counsel that was given to them. Sometimes there's been a couple of cases where we've heard of public defenders that are like, what I'm saying, that are freedom fighters, right? So I don't want to say all but it seems like the background and reputation seems that they don't do what so much. They're ineffective. What are your words to that for somebody that feels like they might not have been defended correctly, or their case presented correctly, and they feel like they could get back in court?
Mm. Well, that's tough because if a person, a client, doesn't have money, they just simply don't have the money. And the law says that, they're entitled to counsel, but not the counsel of their choice. And there are many public defenders who are awesome and amazing, but at the end of the day, um, most offices are underfunded, and they have caseloads that are just enormous. And
Hmm.
so the resources just aren't there in terms of just the bodies to handle the number of cases. And so there are times when people's cases do slip through the cracks. The best thing I would say is, when that happens, if a person is in the pretrial stage of their case, so they have not yet been convicted or sentenced, they need to prepare for that mentally, but also do the research if they can, so that they know procedurally what happens, God forbid, if they are convicted and sentenced, what happens next, so that they are not procedurally time barred, meaning that they are prevented from appealing their case as far as they could appeal it because too much time lapsed, because an attorney did not properly communicate to the client that a deadline was approaching in the
Hmm.
appellate or the appeal stage of their case. So a person should really be proactive before they're convicted so that they know what those timelines are. And they can start by a lot of public defender offices. They have an attorney that's dedicated, or sometimes even a unit within the office that's dedicated to doing the appeals. So to just start asking those questions right then and there, so that if and when that time comes, they are prepared. Oftentimes, you know, people are strapped for cash. And so there's a decision as to whether or not they should use whatever money they have to pay on their bail bond, or to pay for an attorney. And it's a tough position to have to be in. But I don't know. Sometimes I mean, it depends on what a person has to lose, where they are in the world, what their employment situation is, what their family situation is. But it may be a better use of money to spend that money towards private counsel that they trust, who comes highly recommended, who they believe will have the time that is required to put forth the best defense in their case.
Right.
And guys, if you see any comments you want to stop, there's so many comments coming in. Guys, if we don't respond to every question, we do apologize. We may be doing part 2, depending on how, but it's a lot. There's an influx and there's an amazing amount of people in here. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to try to get through all the questions and comments.
Also, make sure your loved ones that's incarcerated is hitting the law library and staying, like, they have to do their part as well. Everything that Tasha said is 100% correct. And some of these public defenders, and this is me saying this by experience, they don't care because they're so overwhelmed and overloaded with cases. I give thanks for John Cajal. I give thanks for Michael Epstein. Both of them passed away last year, but they both were public defenders that stuck with their clients, and they don't make them like that anymore.
Right.
Tasha was a public defender. She's in a class by herself, but you have to just be patient with this process. Unfortunately, it can be done. It's just going to take a while.
Indeed.
So take heed to the advice she just said, because she's right and correct.
Facts. I kept bringing up this comment because I've heard this a lot. I get phone calls, emails, and they talk about possibly like crooked detectives or evidence, stuff like things of this nature, ways to get back in court based off, I guess, new evidence, etc. Suggestions. This question said, what do you do when the system is corrupt and it tries to cover up for a detective? So everywhere you go, you're being blocked because they're all working together. I don't know how you.
We've seen that a lot too. Shabaka, Derek Hamilton. Man, we've seen the corruption. We've seen the corruption with Lorenzo Johnson. They're all home now, but they all had to serve over 24 years, 25 years in prison. And although these detectives and stuff in those particular cases are exposed, nothing was not done. There's some litigation in court going on for that one detective that put out a lot of brothers in the 90s for wrongful convictions. What was his name? Tasha, what was it? It was over like 25 guys with Shabaka and them. It was like over 25 people that detective had got hemmed up, and he's still not in prison. That is a tough battle. I did see that question too. Hey Kay, it's very difficult, and a lot of people are too scared to expose detectives and cops and dealing with that type of stuff, and the threats and all of this right, Scarcella, right, all of these people. People are very scared because remember back in the day, the 90s was like mass incarceration was crazy.
Yeah,
they were just locking them up, and back then, they were threatening the single moms, the girlfriends and stuff for their Section 8 and their housing and all that, taking their children and stuff away and making them go up against all of these people, making them go up against their own husbands and baby fathers and stuff for stuff that they didn't even do. So then they had to lie and testify and stuff. It is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing that was done, and that's being still being done. I hope I answered your question with that, Kay, because that is a tough battle. What do we do? And we've been in this game a long time. Like, what do we do? We're vocal. We're never going to back down, but it's really difficult in those type of situations, dealing with all of those quick, because they all stick together. They're all family. All of them are family. All of them. So I know out where you're at, Chris,
Oh,
in a certain county out there, I know for a fact they're all family, and there's
and one of
people
the
still sitting in
sheriffs,
there for years,
I'll
and then
say,
they have a trial.
one of the sheriffs down here just got he's doing time right now. Victor Hill is sitting in the jail cell right now. Anybody that knows Georgia, we're protest cop city. It's a lot going down in Georgia.
No, so it is a lot.
Yeah,
People are still just sitting inside those jail cells for 4 or 5 years and don't even have a court date.
no court date, no like
Nothing.
to me, I could be wrong. It seems like it's clear violations of due, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I guess there's million continuances, but yeah, it's hostile. There's a lot of states that are under duress, and the good thing about the information you're getting here tonight is you can utilize this information wherever you're at. Make sure you're sharing this content, letting people know we're in a conversation. As we got more comments coming in. Peace to you guys, man. One of the questions that came through was approaches to the parole board for individuals that are continuously getting shot down due to nature of the offense that we're hearing or things of this nature. I guess the question was more in lines of what are realistic approaches. I've heard some people say lobby outside the door. I've heard other things, but what are your guys' opinion?
Well, I would say something like that, you really have to take it all the way back to the very just fundamental concept of voting. Now, I can't speak to every jurisdiction, but in Pennsylvania, we have members of our parole board who are appointed, but you look at, well, who does the appointing? Elected officials. And so we really have to be proactive and involved in the voting process, because that's where it counts, most especially on a local level. The federal elections are great when we show up in numbers to vote for president and for Congress, but who are we electing as our governor of state, as our state representatives, as our state senators, as our local trial level judges, in jurisdictions where judges are elected and not appointed. So we have to look to all of that, because those are the key people who are involved in the decision-making process in terms of who gets to serve on those boards. Thereafter, I would say, you have to be just really involved in the community. So like here in Pennsylvania, we have public hearings when people are up for commutation. I know we were speaking about parole specifically, but just being involved and making sure that the members of these boards see your face, know your face, and see how committed you are to justice and change.
Yeah. Yes, because I don't even know people names at the capitals and stuff, but they know who I am. And it's crazy because I'm a one woman army, and I'm very vocal. And to Tasha's point, y'all have to vote. I know, coming from the background I come from, grew up in Brooklyn in the hood and this, that, and the third. And a lot of people feel like they're all in the same. They're all the same. They're all in the same. The Republicans, conservatives, the Democrats, and and they won't vote for that. But I do want to say, shout out to former Governor Terry McAuliffe, because he made a hell of a difference for returning citizens. And so for him not to be reelected, and he gave convicted felons their rights back, and he's not in office right now. I'm a little hot about that. And we campaigned for him hard. And now everybody's complaining about the new governor. Okay, whatever. It's whatever. But it's like I know I've worked with him, former the former governor, and I know that what he stood for, and I know he meant what he said, and he said what he meant. He did a hell of a job. He did a hell of a job. So again, to Tasha's point, get out and vote. These local votes, these governor votes, these mayor votes, these votes, they count. They count, and hold them accountable. It is
And
up
may I?
to you to hold these people accountable. Okay, Tasha.
Yes. And if I just may just jump in real quick, because I did see someone's comment go across the bottom of the screen. Like, what if you live in a different state? You can still be a part of the process because we have social media, which is free in this day and age. So you can still be involved in the process and promote candidates who are in the jurisdiction where your loved one
Mm-hmm.
is. Promote candidates who are about reform and change. So you can still be a part of the voting process, even though you may live in a different jurisdiction from where your loved one is incarcerated.
Yeah, you can
Y'all
definitely.
got that? So when this live goes off, we all gonna post Tasha's stuff, right? You may not live in Pennsylvania or in that county, but let me tell you something. I posted her stuff. I live in Virginia. I posted her stuff on Travion's page, and he has thousands and thousands and thousands. I run all his social media stuff. And 3 people voted in that county for her
Yeah,
and inboxed me. So yes, the whole social media thing, YouTube thing, all this stuff helps. So if you want somebody like Tasha in the seat, who's going to be fair, who's going to implement programs for juveniles and whatever she can do to help,
yeah,
then do it. Like push it, do it. Everybody knows somebody from everywhere in the United States. It's not going to hurt just to post her running once a week. It's not going to hurt um, posting for whoever you feel the governor should be the next go around once or twice a week. It really works. And I was that person. I was that person with the hood mentality, coming from where I came from in Brooklyn, and was co-signing on that bullshit back in the day. I'll be 52. That's and I've been voting for years, of course, years. But it's like get out that mentality. We need to put who we need to put in office to get where we need to be.
yeah.
And
Stop
if
being.
you're not even doing something as simple as voting or maybe reposting, I don't want to hear nothing from you. And
Yeah,
this is coming from me. I don't want to hear one thing from you. I don't want to hear a complaint. I don't want to hear, can you help me? Or what can I do? Why am I putting in all this work and you're not?
mm, talk about
I'm
that
just
part.
saying. I'm just saying.
It's crazy, and this gonna segue into the next thing I'm saying. I'm not really an advocate as much as I try to connect the dots with for people, right? With actual advocates and different organizations,
You're
etc.
definitely an advocate.
Yeah, I get I'm fighting for my brother, things like that, right? But I learn, right? I pay attention to you got, the people that have been doing this longer than me. Um the reason you're able to cause an impact, you guys' your name's heard, different places, different arenas has got some respect to it, right? Respect is key.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's important, this part. People need to understand this. When you're presenting your loved one's case to an advocate, I'm going to break it down because this is about 3 different questions in the form of one, but it's really me asking it because sometimes I'm gonna say it, the craziest cases, um,
Yep.
where this is coming from somebody that's done 17 years. Monsters do exist. I'm not saying anybody is or isn't. I'm not, but I'm just saying sometimes when certain cases come to me and I learn to do homework and not just go off emotion and feeling, right? And I go down and I start seeing crazy things and I get away real quick, right? But what do you say? Like, how real does a loved one have to be with their loved one's case, I guess? And how can they present it? Because sometimes people will, they'll send you 1,000 emails, they don't understand, you can't get to it, or you don't have the time to sit down. Like, what,
Right.
just that aspect, how can they break the ice? How can they introduce, and how can they make sure they're not going down the rabbit hole of possibly, because sometimes everybody's not going to volunteer. A lot of people pay for lawyers that don't get results, etc. Like, I guess though, does that make sense? Did I break that all
Yeah,
down?
yeah, yeah. It makes absolute sense. I'm
Okay.
so glad you said this.
Okay.
You want to start, Tasha, or you want me? Because,
Take it
baby,
away.
for me, do not email me with, do not email me with, hey, yo, I need you to take my brother case. I don't have a name. I don't have content. I don't have docket. I don't have anything.
Right.
Do not email me. Or if you email me with a nice email, etiquette and everything, and you leave out a whole bunch of information, please know,
That's
just
red.
because I'm an advocate, I move like an attorney as well.
That's red flag.
So it's like I have the answers and I know what time it is with the said person you send me the information about. And so I'm going to ask you and pick your brain about, okay, so you didn't tell me this and you didn't tell me that. I had somebody that was going to give me a $5,000 retainer.
Mhm.
$5,000. I'm like, damn, this sounds good, but too good to be true. Let me tell you, when I looked up, the brother gave me A, B, and C, but he left out the rest of the alphabets. So when I approached him and I said, well, I'm going to have to decline because you didn't tell me he kidnapped his baby mother. You didn't tell me he did this. You didn't tell me he tied her up for 3 days. You didn't tell me he raped her. You didn't tell me she jumped out the window and had to run for her life naked. You didn't tell me he was in a shootout with cops and he shot at the cops first and then got shot 8 times. You just told me cops shot him 8 times for no reason.
Yeah.
So when stuff like that happens, oh, that's done and dead for me because you're starting off lying to me or not giving me all of the information. So that is a complete turnoff for me personally. Um, Being too pushy. I got a life. I got 1,000 things to do. So, and you're not going to have your answer overnight with this case. I will give you maybe an outline of stuff, but you still got to be easy. If you asking me, sometimes a docket can be up to how many pages, Tasha? I've had one for hundreds and hundreds of pages. I cannot read that, and I read and study every day, but I can't read a whole docket and court stuff and look this up and do that in a week. I can't do it with a whole entire life that I have. And then you get impatient. If you are not a patient person, if you are not a person who is emotions will supersede your intelligence. So, and when I say that, like when people are too emotional, they can't see past nothing else. You're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of hell no's. You're going to get a lot of denials on your appeals and all of this stuff. It's going to be a lot of heartbreak in this process. And you have to learn. And trust me, I know I cried plenty of nights over Travion and trying to wrap my head around how am I going to tell his mama this? How am I going to tell him this when he calls? I don't even want to pick up the phone tomorrow because they done denied him. And I'm going to break his heart. So I lost a lot of sleep over those years, giving thanks he's home, but it was a lot of no's. Tasha can attest to her clients, the no's and the heartbreaks, and got to go up to the prisons, and we got to sit there and wait for them to come down with our tears in our eyes just to tell them it ain't happening. So then another 3 or 4 years is going by because now we got to do another process.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, and I'm retired as a disclaimer. That's why we're doing this show.
Definitely.
So, I'm not taking any more cases. I do want to put that up there. And, I know Tasha played this full. So, Life and I, we came up with the idea to have her to answer your questions as best as we can.
Good
Now,
point.
I don't mind answering people questions, but I'm not taking any cases. And you just have to have patience. Oh, and another thing too, please, I'm speaking for myself. Tasha's going to speak as soon as I'm done in 50 seconds. For me, I cannot do 30 people in a family calling me, hitting me up, trying to be at every meeting. I need one, maybe two people who,
Liaisons.
can, is not going to blow their top, that's professional and all of these things. You cannot work with an abundance of people. Of course, keep your family in the loop of what's going on. Of course, they have to go to court, make sure we got the courtroom packed and they're pushing signatures and stuff like that. But to work with us, I can't do more than two people because I worked with Travion's sister Taisha and his mom. I mean, for the most part, it was John and I, for real, for real. And Vandy Singleton, shout out to Vandy. But you can't have a lot of pots in the hand, and you can't have a lot of hands in a pot because it'll make you stir crazy and it get you aggravated. So those are the few things I can say. Tasha.
And the top, can I comment? I wanted before I'm about to give you the floor. Said no one is taking cases. Also, issue reaching out to organizations, some advocates. And this is what it is, guys. Before I let Latasha get the floor real quick,
Mhm.
you're an advocate. You know,
Correct.
you are an advocate. I was at a meeting last night, and again, I welcome the challenge. But my response, what I wanted to ask the young ladies, what are you doing? And I don't mean that in any type of negative way, but I think it's imperative for anybody that's making a comment like that. Are you taking cases? Because you can, and that's what this is about. And not to chop you down. We love your engagement, bring the conversation. I think that was a positive comment, and it's true.
Mhm.
There's overload and an influx. There are millions of people incarcerated. Um, the majority of advocates don't get paid because the majority of people that need advocacy, they're
Don't
not
have much, right?
they're not able to pay us. So it really is, you got to be patient with the advocates, the attorneys, etc., because even the ones that are getting paid, they're overflow. They're probably booked up too. But also, you are an advocate. Create a lane for yourself. Learn like from forums like today. Start applying. Start small and keep connecting, engaging, and being a part of these conversations. Thank you for your comment. Just want to get that out, guys.
Awesome.
Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, you are the advocate. We have to be the change that we want to see. And it's a process. The law is, mm, it's a lot. It's a lot to be able to understand it. And for some people, it comes easier. For other people, not so much. But you just have to be patient with it and patient with yourself. Um, I believe in the old adage, you can do anything that you put your mind to. I know it sounds
Right.
cliche, but it's very true. Because I wasn't always an attorney. I don't know if the person who made that comment, if you were tuned in, but I was an advocate for a very long time and went to law school in my 30s. So I was very much an adult, and have a very untraditional path to becoming an attorney. And so, yeah, you become the advocate, you do the legal research, you do the digging. And, when I first started, there was no Facebook, well, there was Facebook, but I wasn't really hip to it. But there was definitely no Instagram, definitely no TikTok. And so now we have all those tools. So when you have a situation where you need to discover new evidence, um, you now have social media. That's a free tool. If you need to look for witnesses, like if your loved one has been incarcerated for a really long time, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, there are so many free tools out here where you can try to locate somebody that might have been a witness to the case.
Yep.
I would not suggest going to speak to the person yourself if you do find them.
Nope.
And I'm just just based on my own experiences with that, because the
I
government
remember.
may try to, say that coerce this person or whatever.
Hmm.
So that's where you're, doing what you can do to save money, your fish fries, your fundraisers, whatever you're doing, so that you can hire an investigator, someone who's detached and neutral, who can go out and properly interview the person, um, get an affidavit from them, get that notarized, and then get that into court. But yeah, you go look in that mirror. You are the advocate. You're looking at them because there's just not enough people at the organizations. I mean, we were told no from the Innocence Project. Why? Because it wasn't a case that involved DNA scientific evidence. So we were told no. We were told no from Centurion Ministries. I mean, I could just go down the list because there's just not enough um, organizations, and the ones that do exist, they're stretched. They are bursting at the seams, and so you're the advocate, just like Life said.
You're definitely the advocate. And like I said, research is your friend. I research. I'm the type of person, okay, so Tasha was my outlet. She was my go-to, right? But I didn't bang her in the head because I knew, like I said, the blueprint. And then I look, I paved my own way. Um, and I give thanks for her for the blueprint. And if I did any pop-up questions, she answered. I didn't linger on because I knew I would have to do research myself. I know how to track down a witness. Well, I'm a woman. We could track down any daggone body for real. Uh, we we're born PIs, right? Life women.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I did that. The everything that she just said, she just actually gave you part of the blueprint for that, on how to advocate. Do not approach a witness by yourself, as she stated. Please do not do that because that can go terribly wrong
yeah.
legally. And people, you don't know how people are when you approach them.
Right.
Um, and be careful of the witnesses you looking up for cases as well, because that it could be trouble. Um, it's always a good to have that under your belt, and then again hire the PI. But so what I would do with that, what Tasha just said, go ahead and do these fundings to try and raise money. Maybe the family can pitch in $50 to $100 just to get a retainer for an attorney. And get your petitions together. If they exhausted everything and you're just trying to go for commutation or parole or conditional pardon or whatever you are, or whatever you're trying to do, go ahead and get that petition done. Make sure somebody's professionally reading it, because I've seen petitions and I'm like, oh my goodness, they didn't spell YOU. They put U in the DA instead of THE. And like, I've seen petitions like that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, nobody's going to take this seriously.
Right.
But you can Google an outline on how to write a petition as well. Google is your best friend. YouTube is your best friend. Just put the simplest things in a search, the questions that you have. I'm sorry, the simple questions you have in a search, and things will pop up for you. Believe me, that's how I started. That's how I began, because I didn't know one thing, and then I started learning the law on my own in this state, and in New York. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from New York, and Pennsylvania, because I was dealing with a case out there. So I'm familiar with those three states, but this is not light work. It's not easy. It's emotional, and it's very, and Tasha can attest, time consuming. It's very time consuming. This took 10 years of my life. You
Straining.
know what I'm saying? It took 10 years of my life, which is fine, because guess what? This is my ordained walk. That was my ordained walk. I'm in the next level and phase of my life and my healing, and all of that. This is my next phase. This show is my next phase. I'm still a prison coach. I'm still out in prisons teaching. Um, I don't mind having these type of shows now that Life and I've collaborated. I don't mind that, because everybody needs help. But please know, everybody needs help, but everybody can't help. Does that make sense? So sometimes you have to just lead the way for yourself and your family. But I would start with the fundraising, as Tasha said. If you don't have any money, it's nothing like bowling. If people are spending $20 a day on Starbucks and McDonald's, they could sure go to a bowling alley and give you $7,
Yeah,
for fundraising. That's the
connect.
way I see things. I'm not counting nobody's pockets, or I don't know what you got in your pocket or what you got in your pocket, but I'm just saying.
Right. And I would just say, if you guys want to email me, I've got some fundraising opportunities for you guys. Some legit and
Nice.
successful ways to fundraise. We can get some material in your hand for next to nothing, and it's a good investment, good way. And we've been successful with it down here. So just email me. A couple more questions. I know we can't be up here all night. I guess we'll go first. Somebody asked about how effective a paralegal can be with getting their loved one's case back in court. Do you suggest? What's the difference maybe between a paralegal attorney besides the obvious? Um, I guess comments to that.
Oh, so yeah. Well, one thing for sure, and this is whether you're dealing with a paralegal or an attorney, I would say it's really critical to have someone who has a background in post-conviction litigation. Um,
Mhm.
you can have an attorney who's known for, being a beast, right? A criminal defense attorney, but they're a trial attorney. And there's a very big difference in doing trial work and doing post-conviction or appellate work. You don't always have someone who is like that triple threat, so to speak. So you need someone who's really good doing research, who has trial experience, because in order to effectively appeal for someone, you have to have an understanding of what went wrong during their trial, and have the ability to, as Mo said earlier, read through thousands of pages of transcripts and documents and the court record. But you really want someone who knows and understands post-conviction litigation, and that's the area of law when a person has been convicted and sentenced, because they have to know the procedural rules as well as the law in terms of what issues are really good issues to bring up on appeal, and then beyond appeal, which is the post-conviction stage. So if you have an attorney or a paralegal that concentrates their practice in that area, that can certainly be very useful. The paralegal can assist with doing legal research as well as drafting the necessary motion to be submitted to the court. So it can be useful, but just make sure, like I said, it's someone who concentrates in post-conviction litigation.
Mhm.
Mo, you got anything to that? Or you?
No, she said it all.
Yeah, she
That's
just.
exactly what I was thinking about
Yeah,
the
it
post.
makes
I
sense,
was thinking about that. Yeah.
right?
But
I'm
it's good
extremely.
to if you are a paralegal, you can whoever answered that question, are they a paralegal?
No,
Because they can.
they were asking, I think, about getting one for their loved one's case.
Oh,
To,
okay, got you, got you, got
yeah,
you.
to help
I was
support.
thinking that they worked in the office, and I was about to say you better work that attorney at
Uh,
the office.
yeah, she just said no. Okay, you answered what I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay,
Um,
awesome.
yeah. Next question. We kind of touched on it. You know what I'm saying, briefly, but maybe we can go into it a little bit more. The political aspect. Um, where to start? Not the quote unquote the first step, so to say, to the long climb. Because yeah, you can send a letter, I guess, directly or email to the governor, to secretary of state, whatever. But what about local officials? What about like who are the people that we can contact? Somebody asked, they've heard about they've heard about officials going into the prisons, etc. And how can we have conversations with them to change laws? I can say that real quick before I give you guys back. I just sat in on a meeting Monday. No, I'm tripping. I don't know what it was. Friday, whatever it was, with somebody that's running for a political office in Virginia that wanted the backing of the organization I'm connected to. You know what I'm saying? get connected with organizations that got people's ear. Get connected to organizations that other people that are running for office might want their backing. And then you can become a part of the conversation. But I want to say this too: when you become a part of the conversation, don't make it about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Find the common denominator amongst you and the people that you're connected to, and then bring it. But that's what I wanted to say. What, as far as a political aspect, where can someone start?
Tosh?
Well,
But you said a
sure.
mouthful. Like you said a mouthful. Like you did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it's very rare um from my experience for politicians to get knee deep involved like in an actual case.
Mm-hmm.
Issues, yes, but a specific case, I don't really see that a whole lot. Um, so I
With the
would,
exception of Travion.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's happened. That's what I said, rare. So it can happen. It's just not frequently at
Right.
all. So I would maybe focus on connecting with the elected official to make sure your voice is heard so that they understand what your passion is, what the issues are as you perceive them. And then, because again, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
So, if it's someone who is, local city council or probably more appropriately the state legislature, you want to work with them if you're in it for the long haul, because I think as Life just said, you want to try to steer away from making it about you, even though that's
Mm-hmm.
the motivation for getting involved is you and your loved one situation. You want to also focus on the bigger picture and working with that elected official to bring about change in the law. Like, is your loved one someone who's subjected to, a mandatory minimum sentence? Was your loved one someone who, I think I saw on YouTube, someone who felt compelled to plead guilty to avoid the death penalty should they be convicted? So you want to work for change on a more global level. But like I said, there are the Travions of the world where, an elected official did get involved specifically with that case, but that's really, really rare.
Right.
Now in the locals, if you really notice, like the locals, the local mayors, the local officials and stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't fall. I don't I don't see them too much talking about prison reform, like the locals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now if you're like I said stated earlier, if you've exhausted everything, that's when you go to the governor, because the governor is the only one that can pretty much pardon or commute your loved one's sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to work on that aspect of it. But the locals, what I've seen with them, I think maybe two. I live on the beach in Virginia Beach. I think I maybe seen two that was passionate about going like into city jails and stuff like that, and just hearing other people voice, other people in prison, their voices and stuff like that. But I feel like they focus more on the environments and stuff like that. But to Tasha's point, she's correct. Again, if everything's exhausted, that's when you hit the governors right before they get out of office. And the chances are it could be a great chance of your loved one coming home. But even before that, like, still do what you're supposed to do. The paperwork, the this, the that, and everything. I think I seen somebody had a community question as well. Um, the yeah, for a community to learn something about the legal system. And although basically what should would be the first thing the community should learn and start. Well, first of all, the community need to come together, which is very difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and the teachings, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, with unity, we can accomplish much, right? And
Indeed.
people will talk and stuff. I've had several seminars, and I'm not doing any this year on things just like this. Tasha's
Mhm.
actually even uh, she did a Zoom in with Q&A actually for no, we did an expungement class, right? That's what we did, Tasha.
Mhm.
We did an expungement class and stuff. That's what we did.
That's what
And about three people showed up. Like this is our time and stuff like that. And it was out there, out there, out there, out there, out there. So I blocked the Hampton Library gave me their facility for an entire year. And I was doing stuff, for the return mental health and all of this stuff. And nobody wants to show up. So I said, I'm not going to do it this year. I'm fine with doing stuff like this. I feel like people are more in tune with this, I've noticed. But getting together, I even was teaching on how to advocate those classes. People didn't show up. I worked with the three, four people that did come, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're advocating and taking off.
no
We
question.
can't come together if we're not even meeting up, right?
No question.
So, that's my whole thing. And I get life is life, and people got to live life. But, these things are very important if you're trying to get your husbands home, your wives home, your sons, and all of this stuff home, tuning into shows like this, showing up at the events that's being done. The returning citizens are coming home. I've never seen a bunch of returning citizens in the last 8-9 years that's come home and took off the way y'all take the way they've taken off.
Yeah, our class. I call it a class. We're
It's
different.
incredible,
We're
and
in
they're
a lot of
teaching too.
yeah. I think, and it's funny. All of us weren't best friends behind those walls, but we have respect for one another. I think
Hmm.
I think we were always looking over at one another, and we knew where we were headed. So I just want to speak to that point. If you come home from incarceration, don't underestimate what you can do. The first thing you can do is be an example of what a
Be an
second chance.
example.
um, do that, and then use your voice. Again, social media, use your platform, tell your story. You can hook up with different organizations like Reform Alliance. They got a storyteller program. You can submit your story, start there. Just become a part of the process. We're getting ready, guys. We've been up here over an hour. It's been a million questions. Shout out to everybody. We still got, and we broke. There's like 29 on the YouTube. We got, I don't know what we got on the Facebook because I need my glasses.
There's a lot going on because I'm
There's
getting hit
a lot
up too.
going on. The comments been
We're
coming
grateful, very
in. Yeah,
grateful.
definitely. She spoke on the interaction piece. I can attest to that. It is so difficult. If we stood out there and said we had tickets for Cardi B and Lil Durk, everybody would pull up to the library.
Or
Right?
Beyonce.
Yeah, or Beyonce. We're ready to. It's funny, and I just want to. Why you said Beyonce? We'll come up with the money for the Beyonce tickets, but we won't come up for the money. Never mind. But listen,
No, you want me to finish it?
go,
That $500 ticket, that $500 ticket can go towards legal stuff for your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? And it's a serious, it's really a serious thing. How about how people used to have study groups?
yeah,
When you was Tasha, you had study groups when you was getting your degree and all of that stuff. Have a
Mhm.
study group about advocacy.
yeah.
Get your heads together and come up with stuff. And we gave you all a few pointers tonight or whatever, and it could be done. Commit to once a month just doing that. If you're really trying to get your loved one home, it can happen. It can definitely happen, and you could be it could be a movement. So I'm just throwing that idea out there with that. And before we I think we got a good 10 minutes, but before I log off, I just want to just express a few of the bullet points that was discussed this evening. And again, the first thing should be making sure whoever you're fighting for is being honest and forthcoming. That's the first thing. Make sure they are telling you everything. Because, sometimes white lies is in there. And sometimes they don't tell you everything. Just because it's your husband and just because it's your wife or your son or whatever, don't mean that they're always truthful. And one thing an advocate does not want to want to look is foolish, or an attorney is to look foolish. And you're looking at them like, shit, you didn't even tell me that. What's up? They saying this? Like, did that happen? You know, do the fundraisers. The fundraisers is important, as Tasha stated, the fish fries, the bowling, and all of that stuff. Just tuck that $20 away one week from the Starbucks, the McDonald's, and Taco Bell, and all that stuff, and just have some. And you're gonna have fun and mingle and stuff. So why not? So they can raise money. Um, Make sure when you are writing a petition that you are Google the outline for a petition and see how it should be written. Do not use any text slang in there. Do not do the you. Do not do the DA for the. Don't do any of that, because I'm going to tell you, it's going to hit that office up in the governor's or whoever's lap, and they're going to look at it and they're going to put it to the side.
Right.
So be mindful of how you're writing and what you're saying. And don't come from a place of emotion. Come from a place of professionalism. Um, do your research on any attorney that you hire, because just because some people just hire attorneys and give them their retainer, and then it's just not a good situation, and they take their money and then trial is blown because they're doing whatever with the prosecutor and got this going on. And make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you are doing your research, because it's very important. Um, I would highly suggest you to get copies of your loved ones' dockets, any court information, and please make sure you go through that before you press on. Highlight anything that sticks out to you that needs to be discussed with the attorney or whatever, and that's that. And again, I know I sound like a broken record with if you exhausted every appeal, PCR, everything, and you're going straight for commutation or a pardon or conditional pardon or whatever. That is a governor thing. That is not the president's thing. Presidents deal with federal stuff. Governors deal with state stuff. People don't realize that either, because people be ready to write the president and this, that, and the third. But if it's a state case, they're not going to take it because they can't. They don't have that authority. Petitions, like I said, petition signatures, letters, right, Tasha? If they do go to court, the what are the letters called, Tasha? It done slipped my mind. Character letters.
Yeah, okay.
Character letters are good. Get character letters. Get your family and friends to write character letters. Again, make sure it's professionally written. If you don't know how to write a character letter, Google it. Google and YouTube should be your friend. You will learn a lot from there. I've learned a lot from there. Make sure that you have somebody strong standing beside you with fighting for your loved one too. Again, you don't need 1,000 hands. Now, like at the fundraising and stuff like that, yeah. If you want to be the president of the advocacy and then delegate, okay, I need you to design a flyer and push it. I need you to do this. I need you to be the treasurer of this money. Hold on to this money. How much money we got? Do that. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But just make sure that you know who role is who and what you're doing. Try not to be frustrated. And it's easier said than done, because the system is very, very, very frustrating. So have patience and grace with yourself, even when it's a no and a letdown. You're going to get back up and do it all over again. That's it. This fight is not easy, getting your loved ones home. It's just not. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it at all. And I think you want to add on to anything, Tosh?
Yeah, so I do want to touch on Miss Christina's comment in the chat.
Mhm.
Um, I think she'd asked a couple of questions that seemingly have gone unanswered, and then suggested that I guess this forum not advertise on an Alabama group if
I was on my
they're
way
not.
over there.
Well, I'll let you handle that. I was just going to say, I just, I'm not dictating to you how to feel or what to think or say, but I just think that's probably not the right approach because the world is very wide. And so you don't know what colleagues I have in Alabama or that Life may have or Monique may have where we can
I'm in.
get the answers to your questions and help connect you to a practitioner who is in Alabama, who would be more well versed with the specific scenario that you've brought up. So I did place my information on the YouTube channel. So feel free to reach out to me. Probably know attorneys in every state in this country. I would also add that for family members, it's, I think, imperative that you encourage your loved one who is incarcerated, as long as that person is not um, incapable intellectually or incapacitated to some extent. You know, I know they're in there doing their time, but I also know that there's always money being thrown around in the prison, whether it's money for, Girl Scout cookies, bake sales, money for their entertainment, whatever the case may be. They have to invest in this process as well, I believe, because if they don't invest in themselves, why should or would anybody else be motivated or compelled to do the same? So they have to spend that time in the law library. Every prison should have one. I know some law libraries might be better than others, but they have to understand their case, begin to try to understand the law, so that they can be invested in the process. So for me, that's really, really big. Like I said, if they're capable, not everyone is capable because of being incapacitated intellectually or otherwise. But as long as they have breath in their body and a mind, they need to get down and dirty in them books and read or learn how to read. There are a lot of people who are incarcerated who are illiterate, but
Yeah.
they can
Oh,
take some of the steps, possible to begin to change that and change their own destiny. So that's probably, let me see, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss. Someone asked who you send character letters to. Well,
yeah, I
if
was
your
about
loved
to
one
answer
has
that
an
too.
attorney, yeah, you would want
Hmm.
to send it to their attorney to make sure the attorney is the one that's in direct contact with the court. But if the person doesn't have an attorney for some reason, then your loved one would submit that. Um, I mean, and it really just depends on where you are and what stage of the litigation.
Right.
If you have a more specific answer, you can also reach me on Instagram. I did put my handle in the chat. I think that person is on the okay, this person is on Facebook. I guess I will put it in here if I can. But my handle on Instagram is at Latasha for County Judge. And I'll try to post it in this forum as well.
Indeed.
And then also, I'm so glad whoever asked that question about the character letters. Yes, it's for court. And when we did the pardon as well and the petitions and stuff, the pardon, I think it was like because they gave Travion 40 years and he wouldn't have been able to come home till he was like 65 because he fell under the geriatric law. Then we got that out the way and then then they pardoned him. Um, but we did an abundance of character letters too, and to my surprise, my plug was like they read them and it was very heartfelt and so yeah, but character letters, a lot of times the judge will ask for character letters or the attorney, or whatever. So it's always good just to have those. If you can get those and just keep them in a folder, it's always good to have those.
Indeed.
I don't know who this is, Facebook user, but big shout out to you.
Nicole Rob.
She said she got so many notes. I love it because then we feel like this is not in vain. Um, so Tasha's website, if you want to learn more about Tasha, it is www.williamslawgroupllc.com. Again, www.williamslawgroupllc.com. And I will put that in the comments as well. Life can do that, and then we'll put it on Facebook as well. And you'll see the services and her background and education and everything. You know, her introduction said it all when I introduced her. But she has 100% what, Tosh? You have
As a
100% what?
as a prosecutor, 100% conviction rate,
As a
which,
prosecutor,
I mean,
100%.
I don't brag about that, but because I did advocacy work for so long, a lot of people were surprised that when I did finish law school that I became a prosecutor. But
Yeah.
we need fair-minded prosecutors and
Yeah.
police officers and all of that working on the side of the government so that they can keep people out of prison who don't belong there.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, you need people in the positions that exist in society. People, the first time I met a prosecutor, to me, a prosecutor that cared, they were creating programs to stop people from going to jail,
Yep.
prison, etc. So don't always get caught up in titles. And I think it's good that that actually got highlighted because sometimes you don't expect to have a conversation with somebody that was in a certain role or is in a certain role. And you get you get to look at them a different way. So, thank you
I
for,
love the fact that Tasha's had her hand in a little of everything in this
yeah,
world.
yeah,
I love that. And I learned so much from her. And, like I'm not just saying it because this is my sister and one of my closest friends. Like, she's super dope. Like, she really is. And I'm appreciative of attorneys like her and John, may he rest in peace, and Michael, like, the great attorneys that who really care and want to implement programs, um, and they want to see people do great because it's important. And we also know, and I'm saying this, the prison pipeline is a huge business. It's an $80 billion business. So there's that, but getting your loved ones home can be done. I'll also tell your loved ones that's incarcerated to stay clean. No trouble, no gambling, no doing this, no doing that. If you're trying to get home, we don't need 1,000 write-ups. You don't need any of that type of stuff under your belt. And if that's happening with fights and gambling and in the hole all the time, and I know it's a frustrating situation. I teach in prisons and I be on the pods and stuff all the time, and it can be depressing for me just coming in there looking at that. It's rough. I know it's rough, but if they're really trying to come home, they have to do their part too. Get your ass in the law library. Because if I'm out here busting my tail, working 2 jobs, doing funding, doing this, doing all of this stuff, I need you to do your part too and just chill out. And this is how life will tell you. This is how I talk to the guys. I need y'all home. Stay out of trouble. If you want people to help you, I need you to be easy. Just be easy. Just be easy. And I know, like I said, I know it's a frustrating situation, but you know, and just the only reward for me is just stay home. Just when you get home, stay home and do right.
true indeed. I just want to say this, again, thank you to everybody that's joined. We can't be up here for 3 hours. There was an influx of comments, questions, concerns that came through. And we got to, the meat of them the best that we could. We might do a part two. I don't want to make promises I can't keep. We got to have conversations. People are all over the place. We got people running for office and things of this nature, right? But I will say this because I want to respond to it. And it was a common theme from yesterday's meeting I was at. Don't get frustrated with the help. and your statement as far as posting the information that was here to anybody is what it does not matter what state you're in. All of the information that was presented today, you can be in Alaska, you can be in Florida, you can apply it. If you have a specific question, email us. But I will continue to post in all 50 states and actually the D100 TVs in several countries now, including Australia and
That's
England
right.
and the rest.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna continue to get the information out here with my sister Mo Life and others like Miss Latasha Williams. We're gonna keep pressing on, but be patient in the process and don't shoot at the help because we can be. I'm in Georgia. I might not know the answer to your question right now. Maybe that's why we didn't respond, but email me. Just reach out. We're here. Really, we really are. And be patient with us again. Be patient with the advocates. Be patient for the freedom fighters. Be patient with the voices. A lot of times it's just one of us, and we're trying to take on 3-4 different situations. And a lot of times because your situation is personal, and I get it, and it's a horrible
They're
thing.
frustrated. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing that's happening. Alabama, Georgia, every state when it comes to incarceration. But here's the thing, guys. We have personal lives too. We got things that we're going through. We got tragedy. We got things, we got life. We got bills. We got things too. So keep that in mind as well. The same effort you want to give, you want the advocate to give to your case, give that same amount of consideration to that voice. And that's
And
really,
please don't trash people.
yeah, that's my word.
Like you can't like don't this is not geared to anyone, just in period. Like, just because somebody's not getting back to you quick enough or whatever, you know, you can't try. I have a great reputation out here. I got a lot of love and everything out here. But I went through a serious, I almost died, and I didn't get back to somebody because I was in ICU fighting for my life, and they trashed my name. They tried to trash my name because I didn't get back to them and this that and granted they didn't know, but you can't do that. Like you don't know what's going on and what's happening. This is exactly why when I talked to Life, I wanted to kind of wanted us to create this because we're gonna get it in as much as we can. Even Tasha's running for office. I mean running for judge, and she can't come on all the time. I'm pretty sure she'll come back as a visitor to do a part two, and I'm sure that when she's getting close, she will come back when she's getting close to running. I mean, right before November, right before she's elected, because I'm claiming she's going to be elected, and to have her back on and get her moving out here on these platforms as well and spread the word about her because she's going to make a difference. She's done it now. She does it now. So just be mindful of people. You can't go around saying, oh, she's not all of this and she's not that. She F her, she ain't get back to her, like all of this extra stuff because life is happening. You know what I'm saying? And what life just said, things happen. So, just mind your mouth, before you start saying anything negative about people. And I'm just not talking about us three up here. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah, just be kind. Be kind. It's too
Yeah.
much. There's too much separation. There's too much, and we need to come together. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And that's it. Be kind to one another. Be patient with one another. And know that if you're going through something, they're going through something too. And if they're willing to stand up and fight with you or give you any type of insight, advice, hey, they didn't have to do that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's
And
it.
nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens overnight.
It's a marathon. It's a marathon. You got to strap in and you got to get ready to go for the ride. It's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be emotions. It's going to be sad nights and happy mornings. It's going to be false promises not being kept. It's going to be a lot of things, scary moments. There's going to be real conversations with your loved one. And everybody's not built for it. And maybe that's why there's not an influx of advocates. Maybe that's why there's not an influx of people showing up to the free meetings, the free Zooms. I've given
No
finance.
patience.
We did courses on financial literacy. Everybody's the one, and then we show up zero crickets. For some reason, we got to figure that part out. If you want to be a part of something positive or you want positive impact in your life, you got to do something different. You got to be unlike the masses. It doesn't happen by sitting on the couch or looking for an hour on TikTok or what's going on, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Beyonce, Jay-Z, it doesn't come from that. If you're really passionate about the fight, take the time and invest it. And that's it. I ain't gonna keep. We're over time, man. We went a whole hour and a half. This is Mo
We
Light.
did, and it's
Last
all
word,
good.
any last words from y'all for this episode, today's episode?
Well, the last thing I like to say is first, thanks so much, sis. I appreciate and love you so much.
I love you
Well,
too.
shout out to my Aunt Rose. She just posted. Oh, um, I would say this: if you are if you are reposting celebrity stuff or even stuff like Young Thug case, snitching with Gunna and 6ix9ine getting beat up and reposting all of that stuff, make a post about this.
Yeah, just hit the share button.
Just hit the share button, or just you don't even if you don't feel that you don't want to do that, start with like the Facebook user up here. I don't know who this is, but I love he or she. I don't know who you are, but make a post just saying that person that's commenting is saying, I'm going to start an app. That's a good idea. I'm going to start an advocacy study group.
That's
Post
brother.
that. Who wants to I want all of y'all to post that today. Let's start an advocacy study group to get our loved ones home. Let's see the traction that's going to come. And if you got somebody, if you're not far away or whatever, and you start a advocacy study group in the 7 cities here in Virginia or whatever, I will come. I promise you that. I will come. Um, to that Facebook user. If you got that going on, you get if you're doing it online or whatever, I will come because you can see when somebody's passionate about something and then they're not. So I would say just go ahead and post. If you're posting these celebrities that don't even know you, you need to be posting about the people that you do know and see if you can get some assistance. And I hope our tips help. And we'll be back eventually. We'll be back with to answer the rest of the questions that
So man,
Me and Life is going to comb through the rest of the questions tomorrow morning, and then we have a part two. And if Tasha can attend, then I'll hit her up. And if I don't know something, then I'll ask her, and then I'll fill in the questions, and then we can come back on. Tasha, what you got?
Yeah, well, again, thank you guys for having me. And I will definitely be back. Our primary election in Pennsylvania is May 16th. Did I get that? Yes, May 16th, 2023. And then our general election is November 7th. I think, because I ran 2 years ago. So I'm like, let me get these dates straight because they're all very similar. But no, May 16th for the primary. So I am very much open to coming back on the show. I had a great time. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for your commentary, for your questions, and just for your overall concern for your loved one and wanting to see them in a better place. The penitentiary is, I've never lived it. I've been in many. And, the first time I entered one, I was in college. It was a part of a class that I was in.
Yep.
And I literally became physically ill, just seeing humans caged in the way that they were at the particular facility where I was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And so, because I was on track to becoming a doctor, so I thought, but there's a change in my trajectory, and here I am in the law. But just, I'm just grateful to you for being there for your loved ones, and I just encourage you to continue to fight, because in addition to what Life said, one thing that's also going to happen frequently is you will be told the words no repeatedly, and that's okay. And you just keep pounding at that door until you get your yes. So I look forward to us collaborating again in the very near future. Thank you all.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to all you definitely coming back. This has been the most interaction I think on any live stream so far.
Let's go. Awesome.
That's a good, man. Good episode one. With our special guest Latasha C. Williams. Please check out at www.williamslawgroupllc.com. Engage. She shouted out her IG. We'll check the comments. We'll put it up. We'll pin it. All that good stuff. Have a conversation. Support. It doesn't matter if you're in the state. She spoke on something like we touched on it probably 40 minutes ago. Support anybody that's on the right side of things. Does not matter. They will help open the door for other people that are on the right side of things. If you can't connect with the lawmaker in your city, try the next city over because they might know somebody in the city you're in. They might open the door. It's networking. It's engaging. In the comments, a couple things somebody asked specifically on the Facebook side: programs, online programs, support programs for returning citizens. Returning citizens are getting ready to start soon. We're doing relationship stuff. It's coming through Ignite Justice, D100 TV, and whoever else wants to get on board. That being said, you can email me at cwillers@ignite-justice.org. And we do have weekly think tanks. It's geared towards Georgia as we're trying to get a good support group here. But we welcome everybody. We're trying to network. It's Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. You email me, say you want to be a part of it. You can be a part of it. This was episode 1 of Mo Life. I think Mo just got froze up, which is amazing. Either that or I don't. Oh, she's gone. Okay.
It was the perfect pose.
Yeah, we made it through the whole. We made it through the whole episode. Latasha, thank you. Again for coming up here, spending your time. I know you're busy, and we look forward to the next one. You answered a lot of questions, and we thank you for your information and insight.
You're most welcome. It was my absolute pleasure.
All right. Thank you. And we'll see y'all soon. Appreciate y'all for support. Don't forget to share this and push the conversation. Subscribe, like, comment, hit that notification bell. The algorithms love us because y'all love it. You believe in it. And we can't do nothing without y'all. The support comes from y'all. You guys are the platform, literally. And we're just trying to be a voice for everybody that maybe not being heard right now. Till next time. Peace, love, blessings. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And that's it. Keep going forward. Peace.